What's up, polyglots? Assalamu alaikum. So today I'm in town, which is the CBD. I'm in the CBD in Windhoek, and I'm just sitting here in the park. You can see the park is green. There are people all over. People walking, some people sitting, and today there's a subject that I want to talk about, which is speaking. The question is, how do I deal with speaking? How do I improve my speaking skills if I'm not speaking in the country where the language that I'm learning is spoken? For instance, now I'm learning Portuguese and Spanish. I'm not living in Angola where people speak Portuguese. I'm not living in Mozambique. I'm not living in Spain or Latin America where people speak Spanish. So how do I deal with speaking? So what I do for speaking, there are some techniques, there are some things that I do. For instance, the first thing is called the bathroom technique that I use. So bathroom technique is all about speaking in the bathroom. I think this one works perfectly if you stay alone or if there aren't many people where you live. Some people might think that you are becoming crazy actually, because that's what I do. I am in the bathroom and I'm taking shower, and then I talk to myself. So before I get into the bathroom, I think about a subject. I have to remove the mask because with corona you have to wear the mask, and here in Windhoek the law enforcement agents are so serious and they can arrest you and you have to pay a fine. So I was talking about bathroom technique. So I talk to myself before I get into the bathroom. I have to think about a subject that I want to talk about. I can imagine that I'm going to a shop, I want to buy something, and then I'm having a conversation with the shopkeeper. So I start talking to myself, responding, asking questions and responding until I finish taking shower. So instead of me singing in the shower as I always used to do, now I talk to myself in the language that I'm learning. The next thing that you can do is you record yourself using your phone, talking to yourself, but you record yourself. So when you record, later on you can listen to what you were saying. When you listen, you will realize that you are making some mistakes. The fact that you have noticed those mistakes is already a step ahead. Because we say that when you're learning a language, noticing or observation is very important. So when you make mistakes, then work on those mistakes, and then that's how you improve. They say practice makes perfect. So you need to practice a lot. The next thing that I do is I read loudly. I read loudly. So when I'm reading a text, I can look for a text that I want to read. And when I'm reading, I read loudly so that I can hear my voice. At first, it's strange to hear your voice speaking in a foreign language. The tone, the intonation, the accent, the pronunciation is horrible sometimes, but you have to continue because you have your goal of improving your speaking skills. Because the ultimate goal for many people, the ultimate goal of learning a language is to be able to communicate with natives or to be able to communicate with people in general. So you really need to work on it. It's not something that will just come, out of the blue, but you really have to work for it. So I read loudly. When I read, I try to read loudly so that, the pronunciation, I hear the pronunciation, the accent. Then I can also record myself while reading, and then I'll listen to myself, and then I'll try to improve from there. The Japanese talk about Kaizen. Kaizen is continuous improvement, amélioration continue. So you improve bit by bit, step by step. But if you improve a small thing every day, after 365 days, you will see that you have made an immense progress. The other thing that I do is when I am walking, I talk to myself. I don't talk loudly, but it's an internal conversation that I'm having with myself. That also helps me a lot. I did that when I was learning French, and it worked perfectly. So you need to talk to yourself. Maybe now you're walking on the street. If you start talking to yourself loudly, people will be like, maybe the guy is getting crazy. So you need to talk to yourself, just in the internal conversation you have with yourself, and it can also help you to improve, because now you are thinking about the grammar, you're thinking about the vocab that you have to use when you're speaking. So when you are faced with a situation where you really have to speak, it will not be difficult, because you already have the vocab that you're always using internally. The last thing that you have to do is look for native speakers, or look for people who speak the language that you are learning, your target language. Some people say that you have to speak to natives, but for me, I do not agree with that. You don't only have to talk to native speakers. Now I'm learning Portuguese. I speak to this girl who is in Austria. She speaks German, which is your mother tongue, and she speaks English perfectly well. And then I speak with her in Portuguese, because she's also learning Brazilian Portuguese. So look for people to talk to. Now with the internet, you can find people anywhere on the internet, on Facebook or on Instagram. Instead of discussing about crazy stuff, it's better you talk to the person in the language that you are learning. That will help you a lot. So these are some of the tips that I had for today. Thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you so much for sharing the video. I'll see you soon. Hasta luego. Peace.